The Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 launch is not going good. I'm sure you're as shocked as I am to hear that, right?
So Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 is in early access right now, and well, the launch of the game is not going down super hot.
Early access in modern days means, by the way, that it's ready and you should be playing it because it's not gonna get a lot better than that.
The reception has been kind of meager, and people are hoping that the annualized release model for Call of Duty comes to an end because it's becoming clear that the developers just can't keep up. Now, before the game's launch, we saw kind of little things that kind of bothered people. Like Jez here pointed out how at one point when you booted up your Xbox, you'd get this ad for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. And look, it's not the end of the world. It's easy to hit exit or whatever, but it's still like kind of annoying and disruptive, and people don't want this to become the norm. Jess here highlighted word.
This is the norm for anyone who's using a Blizzard launcher. It just is.
That if this is the precedent that we allow to be set today, then tomorrow we might be looking at Starbucks ads or something along those lines. Xbox did this for Starfield and other games as well. Doesn't mean this is any less annoying. So the COD ad kind of popping up, it was not something that was particularly well received. Tom Warren here from The Verge also highlighted how Microsoft has started showing a full screen pop-up for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 when you boot up an Xbox today. And this is not something that he finds ideal. I don't want game ads when I boot up my Xbox, which I personally would agree with. Like, it's not really my kind of thing.
Obviously.
And plenty of people have highlighted this. Here's a Reddit thread. Xbox ads, full screen ad for Call of Duty on startup that has garnered over 13,000 upvotes.
The fact that these people are saying, oh, it's a full screen, and that's the problem, I think we're past the point of recovery, I'm not gonna lie. If your problem with this ad is that it's full screen, not it takes only 50% of your screen, I mean, why even fight it at this point?
On the gaming subreddit, with plenty of people not being fond of this. So that was kind of a smaller thing that made people go, eh. And then beyond that, there was this issue that people encountered where when they booted up Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, the campaign, for some reason, asked you to insert the PS4 disc of Modern Warfare 2. This was an error that has since been...
Because even Xbox understands that you probably should be playing it on the PS, and that's just a hint.
Rectified. The developers got wind of this and tweeted, "We're investigating an issue causing some players to encounter a disc required error. Stand by for updates." And then it wasn't long after where an update has gone live to address an issue causing some players to encounter a disc required error.
Game crashes now. It says I have to buy the value edition to play the campaign. I don't know if this is a troll. It maybe is a troll, but you know, even if it is, it sounds on point, boys. I'm not gonna lie.
A disc required error. But a lot of people seem to believe that this is kind of a good metaphor for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 because it doesn't feel like a huge leap forward from Modern Warfare 2. We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, this is what that error message looks like for those who are curious. Plenty of people are like, what the hell? How is this a bug? Now, this stuff wouldn't be nearly as prominently highlighted if the game itself was just a banger and people were happy with it. Yeah, it's been seeing some rough PR. So here's Simon Carty from IGN, who, before the embargo lifted for Modern Warfare 3, hinted at rough tidings for the campaign experience, tweeting out, "My full review on Modern Warfare 3's campaign will be live tomorrow, but all I have to say for now is woof." And then the embargo would lift on November 3rd, 2023, which is today, and IGN gave the campaign experience a 4 out of 10.
Nice.
The full review is right here. I'm just going to read the verdict. Modern Warfare 3's campaign commits the biggest sin possible for a globe-trotting action thriller. It's boring. What had the promise to be an intriguingly spun web of mystery instead ends up being a dusty cobweb you'd find at the back of your shed, clinging onto 15-year-old garden toys you once had fun with. It's a pale imitation of the past, made up of underbaked story moments that clash with attempts to introduce new open...
A pale imitation of the past. I mean, that currently summarizes a lot of the gaming industry, doesn't it?
combat missions designed to encourage player freedom that instead fall flat on their face. Yes, the gunplay is still great and the graphics and sound design are top tier, but I couldn't help but feel I was playing a shinier, less subtle version of something I've played too many times before. If this is the quality we've come to expect from Call of Duty campaigns, maybe it's for the best if a year or two is taken to reset and raise this low bar back to the heights of old. 4 out of 10. Underbaked, rehashed, and cobbled together from multiplayer parts. Modern Warfare 3 single-player campaign is everything a Call of Duty story mode.
As someone who doesn't play COD, yeah, this is about what I expect from what I'm hearing about this game. Year after year, the same thing. Wow. They're really taking a book out of, you know, FIFA's, NBA's, and all of the other games like Madden that just reskin themselves. Well, they don't even reskin. They just sell the exact same game with just more microtransactions every year. I mean, why not do it? The COD player base is not going to probably notice it en masse.
Shouldn't be. Yikes, pretty harsh words, but likely valid. And based on the discussions that I've been seeing online from people who do have early access to the campaign, a lot of people have been saying the same thing. A lot of people have been expressing disappointment at this campaign experience, and this probably in large part has to do with the fact that this is an annualized cycle and developers only have so much time to make these campaigns and to, you know, cobble together a new game for a very strict deadline. And the end result is that the quality is going to degrade, especially as the bar for, you know, what people are expecting out of a new Call of Duty, you know, is raised, and as technology makes the...
Does the bar get raised for Call of Duty? I don't honestly know, but my guess would be probably not really.
Development just more complicated. And so this right here I feel is in large part the annualized release model catching up to Call of Duty, and in the case of Modern Warfare 3 it caught up in a really rough way. There's some people who are highlighting that the trailer for Modern Warfare 3, the marketing surrounding Modern Warfare 3, made the campaign seem a lot more epic, like there'd be more stakes involved and whatnot.
Ooh.
But when you actually play the campaign, it's just a snooze fest, bar a few moments here and there where things ramp up. And then what adds insult to injury is the length of the campaign. It is probably the shortest Call of Duty campaign ever, and Call of Duty campaigns have never been long. They're usually like 6 to 8 hours along those lines. In the case of Modern Warfare 3, a lot of people are completing this campaign within 4 hours, and they couldn't make an amazing 4 hours. At least if those 4 hours would have been, you know, freaking epic with incredible set.
The thing is, people do expect an epic campaign from Call of Duty. I remember seeing Upstart, I guess. I think this was a Call of Duty game, where the start is everything's going fine, and suddenly satellites just start raining down destruction from orbit with, you know, like death lasers and things. That was a very cool experience and start I saw, and I think it was a Call of Duty game. Yeah. I can't blame the people for expecting something good out of the campaign, but man, 4 hours campaign? Ouch. That's really, really rough and bad.
Pieces and just been, you know, bar-raising stuff, then that'd be one thing. But we're talking 4 boring hours, 4 low-quality hours, especially compared to past Call of Duty games. And so not only are we getting a lower quality campaign, we're getting a much shorter campaign than before. So this is about as bad as it could get. And yeah, there are plenty of people who do look forward to Call of Duty campaigns. And so this really sucks for those folks. And for this lower quality, more bare bones, and shorter campaign, we're shelling out the full price of $70 for an experience that feels nowhere.
What are you talking about? The collector's edition is probably $100. The early access is probably $120. Okay? Everyone's buying the early access one, let's be real.
Near as feature complete or as, you know, bar raising as it should be. You know, every new game should strive to kind of elevate from what came before. But demanding full price for this experience, a lot of people just don't feel like the price point is justified. And then making matters worse is that...
I mean, can you honestly play the COD developers? Can you honestly blame them? They create something that's worse quality, and worse experience overall, ask more money, and they get it. Can you blame them for not trying after that? Can you really blame them? Because, you know, it's kind of, it makes sense. If you reward people for being shit at their jobs, that they're going to continue being shit. And they're not going to try to improve. They're going to probably even go worse. Okay? They're going to one-up themselves in being bad. If you keep rewarding them for it, why not? You don't care. You're rewarding them for, you know, making bad games. Can you even blame the devs at this point?
The full installation size of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 is a whopping 213 gigabytes. I mean, remember when this was 150 gigabytes and people were like, what the hell? Now we're up to 213 gigabytes.
Obviously.
I don't know how this is acceptable. That is 1/10 of a 2 terabyte drive, more than a tenth of a 2 terabyte SSD. And for people who like to have a lot of games installed on their system or on their PC, which is plenty of
roughly 11 point something %. Yeah, that's more. Wow.
People, this is less than ideal. And, you know, given that Modern Warfare 3 doesn't feel as content-rich as other games that feel so much more just epic in scope and are significant.
No, actually, it's actually 10.066 something %. Oh no! I mean, it's just insane that you need to download that much. That's the real problem. If everyone had a download speed and could get this done in like 10 minutes, no one would care. But, you know, that's not the case. Because, well, let's be real. Computers are super expensive, but just buying like a 4 terabyte hard drive is $50 nowadays. Well, okay, that's probably more than that, but you know, buying a really huge hard drive and hooking it up, even if you pay someone and you can't do it yourself, is not that expensive. But the fact that it just is this big is ludicrous.
Smaller. A lot of people are scratching their heads as to why this is the case and how they couldn't just compress the storage size further. Now, it is worth noting that there is a minimum installation size of 79 gigabytes if you don't install the high-res assets, but that means you're getting a lower visual experience. The 79 gigabytes is for the multiplayer experience. If you add the single-player campaign on top of that without the high-res assets, that's 149 gigabytes, still ridiculous. And then if you add the high-res assets on top of multiplayer and single-player, that's when you clock in at 213 gigabytes. So at the very least, there are pieces you can add or remove.
Wait. 2 terabyte SSDs for under $100. I wasn't even talking about an SSD, by the way. Wow, yeah. Considering this is like a one-time purchase for, I don't know, 5 years at the bare minimum, you know, $100 is really not that much. It's not about how much space it takes. It's about the fact that the average person is gonna have to download this probably for 2 to 3 days. Probably.
That's when you clock in at 213 gigabytes. So at the very least, there are pieces you can add or remove to your liking. But still, I mean, this is insane. For what this game offers, it should not be anywhere this big. Now, the official Call of Duty Twitter page did take to Twitter to explain why the game is so huge, tweeting out the following on November 2nd, 2023. We'd like to provide an update on file sizes, which are larger than last year. This is due to the increased amount of content available day one, including open world zombies, support for item carry forward from Modern Warfare 2, as well as map files for current Call of Duty Warzone. That still doesn't feel like a justified explanation for this when other games, far larger in scope and scale, manage to make far more reasonable storage size requirements. Now, look, I'm no developer, so I'm not here to declare what is and isn't possible, but surely there is a way to not make Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 over 200 gigabytes in storage size requirement, given the content that it offers. Surely under more considerate hands, this game could be significantly smaller in size. There's this Forbes article here that breaks down all of the issues that Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 has been experiencing during this early access period and all of the criticisms surrounding it. The fact that the campaign is 3 to 4 hours instead of the usual, 5 to 7, 8 hours seems to be trending negative for the quality, not just the length. That's important to note. It's not just about the fact that it's short. It's that the quality of those hours just does not live up to what came before, to some of the more renowned campaigns from series past. The launch of Modern Warfare 3, even outside of this, has been thorny. One of the things that's highlighted here is that Modern Warfare 3 doesn't even have a Platinum trophy for the game, as it's actually categorized as DLC for Modern Warfare 2, which is probably a metaphor for this entire endeavor. That's what Modern Warfare 3 feels like to a lot of people. It feels like a lot of rehashed stuff from Modern Warfare 2, and like they didn't really just...
Because it is. Because it is.
...justify the 3. It feels more like a Modern Warfare 2.5, and the new campaign just doesn't do enough to elevate this to a proper sequel. Again, annualized release model is just not working out right now. It is becoming a detriment to the IP. But the thing is, it's probably going to sell millions and millions, and as long as that continues to happen, as long as Activision can get away with this, like, they'll continue with this model, because why would they change something that's financially working out for them, There was some talk about slowing down the Call of Duty release cycle from annualized and letting Activision support studios work on other IPs rather than being cogs in the Call of Duty wheel. One can dream, right? One can dream, but there's just too much money to be made out of the annualized release cycle of Call of Duty, and so I don't foresee this stopping anytime soon unless, Call of Duty releases in such a poor state that sales and engagement just tanks to a point where Activision reconsiders
We
their
can
strategy.
only hope.
But for that to happen, it has to be quite the big decline. Now, it is important to highlight that we are in a new era for Activision Blizzard, where they've been acquired by Microsoft, and it was during this acquisition that there were talks about slowing down the Call of Duty release cycle. So if Phil Spencer and crew can step up and be like, hey, we care about our first-party releases now. We want these not only to release at a high cadence, but at a high quality, and can mandate that the developers take more time with Call of Duty and end this annualized release cycle, then maybe there's hope. Maybe Uncle Phil can give us some hope for Call of Duty and for its improvement when it comes to quality. But that's just one of those things where there's no guarantee, so I'm not going to hold my breath. But if that's how Xbox decides to approach Call of Duty moving forward, that would be most welcome, and I think a lot of people would be really happy and optimistic about such a move. Now, I guess one positive aspect to Modern Warfare 3 that people have been talking about is the fact that they removed weapon tuning, which was an aspect that many felt was detrimental to the competitive scene of Call of Duty. Here's somebody who asked, why does everyone hate weapon tuning so much? I'm indifferent to it, just curious. And then here's a response that kind of explains it. It made players who didn't play often or wanted a simple experience feel like they needed a PhD just to build a competitive weapon. So it became less about the skills with the tools that you have and more about just perfecting a build, you know what I mean? It became more of an intellectual exercise than just like getting good at the game. Which, I mean, it involved both, but the intellectual aspect definitely took more of a limelight. And so I think without the weapon tuning aspect, it can just be about how good you are at the game and the weapons that you favor and stuff like that, which is what you want this kind of experience to be. So there's that, but in general, it doesn't sound like Modern Warfare 3 is going to garner much positive fanfare based on, these early days of the game's early...
Okay. I was trying to look up my Activision Blizzard stocks, and I just yeah, this has nothing to do with Activision, but there's just an extra 1K deposit in my stock thingamajiggy, and I can no longer see my Activision Blizzards. Did that all get transferred to Microsoft? There's no way. Because, yeah, I did roughly have 1K in Activision stocks. Dang. Yeah, because I don't see them anymore. Huh. Crazy. Well, anyway. Onward, I guess. No, wait. There's no way. That's just that's a random coincidence, right?
Early access release. The campaign is certainly not being praised by just. I've not read.
Well, anyway, tip for anyone ever listening to a Young video. Roughly the last 4 minutes of the video are gonna be the start of the video. So it is what it be. He's not gonna say anything new. Anyway, that was Young, yeah. Classic. Anyway. Yep. Anyway, this was Quizzer saying thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.